What is going on, world? What's up, YouTube? It's Zero here. Today I'm bringing you guys a brand new episode of the 8 Below Show. Welcome everyone to 8 Below, the best gaming related show here on YouTube. Thanks so much for being here, guys. We have a ton of stuff to talk about in today's episode of the show, so let's get into it. So as a lot of you know who have been watching my channel now for a while and have been watching the Twitch streams as far as, what games I've been mainly streaming, that would be fighting games, guys. And so something I wanted to talk about in our first topic today is about Street Fighter and the future of the franchise. So guys, Street Fighter was one of the very first fighting games that I ever really played and tried out, and I really do enjoy this series and this franchise. The question though remains is, where is Street Fighter 6 at this point, and do we have any information kind of about that? And I'll give you guys kind of my thoughts as to where I think the game is and do I think it's coming in the near future. So let's talk about it. In an article, guys, that was written by WCCF Tech and from Francesco De Mayo, this article is titled Street Fighter 6 to release in 2021 worldwide, and this of course is a rumor at this point. Street Fighter 6 has yet to be announced, but it's likely that it will be released in early 2021. Following the grand finals at Capcom Cup 2019 last weekend, the Japanese company revealed some changes coming to the competition in 2020, and that next year's champion will not automatically qualify for the 2021 competition. This happened back in 2016 as the 2015 Capcom Cup champion Kazunoko did not qualify for the 2016 competition due to Street Fighter V releasing in a few months. This means that Street Fighter 6 will be released in time for Capcom Cup 2021, likely early in the year. So if we're going based on what's happened in the past, right? Most likely, guys, it sounds like this actually could very well be what's going to happen in the, in the future. If they kind of go based on this same, if we're going based on what's happened, here, back in 2016 with Street Fighter, this very well might actually happen in, for Street Fighter 6 itself when it actually gets announced. There's been a lot of rumor that it's going to be announced this year and then it'll come out in 2021. There's been a lot of talk about that, and that it's actually, there's talk that it might actually be announced at EVO 2020, which I don't know, maybe it's going to be then. I actually think it might be announced even sooner than that. It's very hard to say at this point, guys, because everyone's been asking about Street Fighter 6 and, who is in the Street Fighter, community. So I think if we go based on this, I can give you an example. Like between StarCraft 1 and StarCraft 2, there was about 10 years between the two of them. We're coming up on that 10-year anniversary, so we very well might get an announcement of a StarCraft 3. So it's kind of similar in that we just go based on the past, not saying that that's how and that's going to dictate the future, but I hope this is kind of true because it is a rumor. But if it is true, that means that Street Fighter 6 is right around the corner, and I'm excited about that. Street Fighter V is going to receive a new DLC character, the boss Seth, in February alongside the Champion Edition, which will include all of the content released for the game since its release. So that's already come out, obviously, guys, but what I will say is that even though Street Fighter 6 hasn't been announced officially at this point, I think it's safe to say that it's definitely coming, okay? Because if you look at the numbers, Street Fighter V, it's one of, if not the most popular fighting game out there, maybe right below Smash. I would say that this is one of the biggest, followed fighting games in the world, and I think that it does its justice as far as how well of a game it is, how balanced it is many times, and I think that Capcom has a juggernaut on their hands in Street Fighter 6. So it's not a matter of if Street Fighter 6 will come out. I think it's just a matter of when it comes out, and I think we might be looking at, I would say, an announcement this year, and either it coming out in 2021 or 2022. But if we go based on the past, once again, guys, as far as the Capcom Cup is concerned, you can see very clearly that if you're not going to qualify for the 2021 season, then that really leads you to speculate that, well, maybe they are making, Street Fighter 6 and they're releasing it, very shortly after it gets announced. And then that would be, how you qualify would be for Street Fighter 6. But nonetheless, guys, what do you think about it? Because I think that this is, one man's thoughts, but what do you think? Do you want to see a Street Fighter 6? Do you think we're going to see it announced this year at EVO or somewhere in between? What do you guys think, and what do you want to see mostly out of a Street Fighter 6? There's a lot of things that I'd like to see, but I think that they've had a lot of success up to this point with the Street Fighter franchise, so just keep going. Don't go too far away from what has made this series great. That's all I'm hoping for. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. So I've been putting off this video on the YouTube channel for a little while now, obviously, guys. I'm making this video and I just didn't really even know what to say when the tragic events of Kobe Bryant and Gigi and all the other victims of the helicopter crash, which I don't want to get into detail on what happened, but I do want to, talk about what Kobe Bryant meant to me. And basketball, guys, was a sport that I've always played. I played, basketball, I've played soccer, I've played rugby, hockey, but the two main sports, I should say three technically, were baseball, soccer, and basketball. My grandpa is actually in the College Basketball Hall of Fame, and so he was very good. He had an opportunity to go to the pros, and he ended up not going to the pros because my grandma got pregnant and he decided to stay, obviously become a family man instead of going to the pros. And anyways, all in all, I have been around basketball for my entire life. It's been something that has been rooted in our family and something that we absolutely are passionate about. We love basketball. Back when I was younger, I used to collect newspaper clippings of different, just the sports section in the newspaper. I would cut out different clippings and images of different players because I didn't have cable for a while when I was younger, and so I would put those, and I would actually tack them use tacks and actually put them onto my wall in my room when I was rooming with my younger brother. And Kobe Bryant was the very first newspaper clipping that I had put up. It was back when Kobe had an afro, and I was following, of course, the Lakers. They were a lot of fun to watch. I've been a Cavs fan, a Cleveland Cavaliers fan, my whole life. But I love the Lakers. They're kind of like that second team that I've always really loved, and just loved watching. I always thought they were just great. And I grew up more so with Kobe and LeBron than Michael Jordan. I remember Michael Jordan. I was about 8 or 9 years old when he was when he won his 5th and his 6th championships. But Kobe Bryant was kind of like that next guy up. I never thought Kobe was as good as Michael Jordan or as good as LeBron, but he was just a stone cold killer when it came to the basketball court. And I loved his Mamba mentality, and that was something that people, when I was, just younger, we would always talk about. And just, in the clutch, he was just such a clutch player. And watching his career progress, just unbelievable, an incredible player. I always thought that the divorce between himself and Shaq was just a disservice, in my opinion, to the basketball world, because I think that they actually could have just kept winning. I thought they could have won multiple more titles. Now, Kobe won 5 rings, and that's huge. That's massive. But I thought that they could have won even more if Shaq would have stayed with him. When I heard, the news, I didn't think it was real, just like everybody else. Kobe, when I heard this, it was shocking, right? But it really did feel like losing a piece of yourself. right? It felt like I lost something when Kobe passed away. Because not only am I into, sports, like, basketball, I love basketball, but I'm also into filmmaking. I went to school for film at the New York Film Academy, did a short-term program, and now I, do content creation on YouTube, which YouTube has changed my life and just in multiple ways, not like from a financial perspective, but from a just, a perspective of being able to kind of show everyone my creativity, or just, what I can kind of do whatever it is or create the kind of content that I want to create for everyone. And there's others out there that share the same passions as I do. One of those, though, is film. And I went to the academy, and I absolutely loved. I've been completely, motivated by all of the different types of people I've seen out there, whether it's Scorsese or Nolan or Spielberg, all of these guys who are creating incredible films. And I winning Academy Awards. When I was younger, I always wanted to be the next Steven Spielberg. I always wanted to, that was kind of like my thought. I wanted to be the next Spielberg because he was so good at his craft. Kobe not only dominated on the court, but he also was dominating in life. Sure, he had things that ended up happening, which we're not going to talk about, but there were decisions that were made, and everyone makes bad decisions. So it's not just Kobe. It's just we know Kobe did because, when you're a superstar, a worldwide superstar, you have a spotlight on you. And so any little thing that you do that would be controversial you're going to be looked at under like a microscope, right? But Kobe was not only dominating on the court, but he was even dominating within the filmmaking industry. I mean, he won an Academy Award. Sure, it was for a documentary or like, a short film. But still, an Academy Award is an Academy Award. Winning 5 rings, then winning an Oscar, and then, just what he was doing off the court was just, I wouldn't say it was as impressive, to me at least, but it was up there. And I think that his life, over the course of his life, he would have done so much more. And that was the thing that I want to get at here, is that he would have done so much more. It's really sad to see a superstar like Kobe Bryant pass away, because you look at these guys, like when I was younger, and even to this day, a guy like LeBron, I look at this guy and I'm like, this is the greatest athlete I've ever watched in my life. Like, he's that good. But it's not just what he does on the court that's incredible. It's what you do off the court. And like LeBron does the I Promise School, and, he does all these other things, right, for charity and things of that nature. He's a really good family guy. No controversies really have surrounded him. Kobe is like that to me. And what I'm getting at is that those guys they're almost like gods, right? They're like idols. They are people that we look up to. And to see someone like Kobe pass away it really gives you a reality check. And I think what I noticed, at least when all of this happened and they confirmed that he had passed away, it brought our country together. It really felt that way, that it brought the entire country together, that you got to love one another, and that it kind of gave us all a reality check. So that would be the one silver lining behind this whole thing, which is an absolute terrible tragedy that happened. Not only did his family lose him, he, lost his daughter, lost all of these other friends, and that is just devastating. I can't imagine what that's like. I've had, of course, family members pass away in the past. But I don't know what it would be like to lose my dad and my sister, like, at the same time. That, guys, is absolutely devastating. It's a travesty, and not just because, you know, it was Kobe, but, you know, for anyone. I mean, it's absolutely terrible. It's a terrible, terrible thing that happened. And what I want to get at here is, first off, is rest in peace, Kobe. I wanted to make this video because he was one of those guys who I idolized growing up, who I absolutely loved watching play the game of basketball. Even though it wasn't my favorite, he wasn't on my favorite team, I respected his game like I respected Michael Jordan's game. It is going to be hard to get over. I don't think we'll ever really fully get over, you know, the passing of Kobe. But I know his legacy is going to live on, as LeBron said in his speech at the Staples Center, stating that, you know, you're going to live on. He'll live on forever, right? And it also kind of puts in perspective, it's like Kobe Bryant, this guy who created this legacy, this incredible legacy, painted a way for other players in the NBA, but he also painted a path for other filmmakers, for other dads, for other, you know, for other parents. He built a legacy that I want to one day, like, even if I could just be as good of a dad as him, you know, that would be, I would think that, man, that's amazing. Like my legacy will be that I was, you know, as good of a dad as Kobe Bryant, because it seemed to me, at least from the outside looking in, that his, like, being a father to his kids, he was really good at. And I think he learned from, you know, his mistakes. And we all have made mistakes. Like I said, guys, we've all made mistakes. It looked like he learned from his past mistakes, and he, you know, really kept up the faith and moved into a direction of extreme positivity, into success upon success. And like I said, his legacy will live on. And I think that many of us out here in you know, around the world now, we want to build a legacy too. We want to build something that people will remember us for, because Kobe will live forever. And that's a really amazing thing. It's a beautiful thing that sports does. But even outside of sports, you know, being a parent, being you know, a brother, a sister, you know, all of those things matter. You can build a legacy. You just can't stand still. You got to go after it. But you don't have to be a mega superstar in order to build a legacy. You can build a legacy by really anything. You just got to pursue it and just keep going and have that Mamba mentality that you're never going to give up. You are going to be as competitive as possible in whatever field it is that you're in. You just keep going no matter what. And I learned that from Kobe. Kobe was the guy who you wanted on your team. Kobe seemed to be the dad, like that cool dad. He also seemed to be that really just cool person, that nice person, and who was extremely competitive with everything that he did. So, guys, the rest of this year, you know, I'm going to, you know, dedicate the rest of the year, as far as like the videos that I make, I want to dedicate those to Kobe, to, you know, to his family. And I want to make the best content possible. Every day I want to keep trying to get better, and have that Mamba mentality in the back of my mind, always there, trying to push me forward, to continue pushing me forward, into the next, you know, segments and next chapters of my life. And, you know, that's what I hope for all of you as well, that you have that mentality, that you are not going to let anyone stop you from pursuing what it is you want to do. I'm not going to let anyone stop me from from wanting to pursue YouTube as and try to make it a full-time thing one day and create content for all of you as a full-time thing, or Twitch, becoming a streamer, a full-time streamer for you guys. Those are passions, those are visions, those are all goals that you have. Kobe accomplished every goal he set for himself, and that's part of the Mamba mentality. Rest in peace, Kobe. Thank you for everything that you did for me, from someone on the other side of the country who was at a distance watching you every step of the way, from when you started playing basketball to now, seeing you and all that success that you had. I'll never forget it. And I pray that you will continue to motivate people like myself to keep pushing forward. Okay, guys, so I've been getting a number of questions on Twitter, as well as even on my Instagram, on Facebook. I've gotten questions over the course of time. I would say over the course of the past almost a year now. I've been getting questions about Major Militia and what happened to Major, and is Major Militia ESC Major. I'm going to go over all those things here in this video, guys, and I'm only going to say this once. I'm only going to do it one time, and we're going to go through it kind of step by step here. And obviously, guys, you can kind of take it for what it is. You guys know who I am. Those of you who remember the Major when it first started. For those of you who are new, okay, I am Major Zero, okay, and I was Major Zero. Obviously, I'm not in Major anymore. I'll explain kind of what happened with the team. Where we're going to start, though, is Major was started by SB Sway. May his soul rest in peace, guys. Sway started the team, okay? And he recruited a couple of people into the team. So it was founded by him. He picked up a couple other guys. One was named Cred. Another was Sync. And then they picked up myself as, I'm trying to remember, I believe I came on as a co-leader into Major Militia. And what ended up happening was, guys, a number of things obviously happened. There was a lot of competition at this point in the trick shotting and sniping communities, and ultimately what happened was Cred and Sync ended up leaving the team, okay? Two of the guys who were there from basically the very beginning. So I was there from the very beginning, before pretty much anything really. We were obviously announcing like the leaders, the co-leaders, team captains, things of that nature. Brought out one majority rules, which was the original majority rules, which was our cams, like and we also had, of course, team Tajes and things of that nature, but like any trick shotting and sniping team would have. So what ended up happening, guys, was Cred and Sync left the team. Okay, they left the team to join a team called Urban Chapters, which was being run by SB Chills, who was, of course, the other leader and other owner of Spacebound with Sway. So Sway started Major, and you had, of course, Chills, who started Urban. And there were a couple other teams, guys. There was like Silver Sanction, and there was, who was the other team? I mean, there was a couple of teams, right? It doesn't really matter, other than Sync and Cred left. I stayed with the team, and then, of course, Sway wanted me to become the face of the team, essentially. So that's what we did. I became the leader of the team, and everything was going good. We were bringing out, team Tajes, cams. A lot of people were. There was a lot of trash talk back in the day, and it was just. It was one of those things, guys. You would have to have been there in the trick shotting and sniping communities, which, by the way, I'm really glad the trick shotting and sniping communities have come back with Plutonium and all of that. That's absolutely awesome. But we were really doing well when it came to Advanced Warfare. We were coming out with some really great team Tajes as well as cams for Advanced Warfare. Well, here's where things happen. And of course, guys, I've matured over the years, but this is what happened. I ended up leaving the team. I joined Psycho, and I was in the team. I was in Psycho for a period of time, and then Sway convinced me to come back to Major. He gave me full access to the team, so he gave me ownership of the team. And of course, he was there to just kind of help. Looking back on it, I should have never left Major the first time, but I did. And then I come back and I ended up leaving again. The goal was I wanted to join Sway in Spacebound, but Chills, as well as some of the other leaders, which I believe was Wills and Burn, they didn't really want me in Spacebound. And look, when I was kind of clan hopping, I went from, back when I came back to Major, I went into like Automatic HQ, and I think I joined Solar. And, I kind of just went to a couple of different teams. And that was when Sway almost like kind of cut ties with Major completely and just kind of, they changed Spacebound as well into more of an entertainment team and different types of videos like top 10 videos and such, kind of moving away from Call of Duty. So myself, I still had access to Major, and I was running Major, but I was also a leader of some of these other teams. And what ultimately happened was, guys, I essentially ended the team for a period of time. I came back to Major, and as far as the time frame goes, guys, I mean, this was a while back, right? So I don't even want to even try to tell you when the time, the time periods and all of those things. I don't even want to do that. But what I will say is this. I was given an offer from a guy by the name of Soul. His name was Fact Soul, okay? Part of, I believe, Fact Revolution. And he was asking me if I would want to trade channels. Like, I would give him Major and he would give me a channel. Now, obviously, guys, at this point, I didn't really care that much for Major anymore because obviously it was pretty inactive and things of that nature. He was going to trade me Oxygen Supremacy for Major Militia. And by the way, Soul is this guy. This is him, and he obviously Mighty Soul, yes. So Major Soul is his name. This guy he stole the channel essentially. So here I'll break it down for you. I agreed to give the channel to himself, and he would give me Oxygen Supremacy. He proved that he owns Oxygen Supremacy, and I went ahead and he wanted me to give him access to Major before he gave me access to Oxygen Supremacy. So this was a mistake on my part. I should not have even ever trusted somebody on the internet like this who I had never met, never knew, all of those things. So anyways, I give him access to it. He basically deletes me on Twitter, this, that, and the third, whatever it might be. Anyways, stole the channel, never gave me Oxygen Supremacy. Now, I told him in DMs and all of that I said, look, I'll give you the channel. If you give me the channel, I'll give you permission to restart Major. Now, before all of this, guys, just to show you, a lot of you obviously don't know me as Major Zero. People, of course, back in the day, of course, did. So I had full access to the team, and I had full say as to whether we were going to bring the team back, whatever we were going to do. Anyways, after I had brought the team back for a period of time, which you can see, this is the legitimate team that we had, right? That was made back in 2017. We had brought the team back, and Major Militia GG, this was it. This was the channel. We had basically, we were, recruiting and all of those things, and it just didn't materialize for us, unfortunately. We were trying to get into esports. We were trying to do multiple things, and I was trying to focus on this channel, on my YouTube channel. So it just didn't work out. But anyways, all of this, the Major Militia, this is the official Major Militia Facebook page. We had the Facebook page made. We had the YouTube channel, which is, of course, right here. This is the one that was stolen, okay, from Soul. And obviously, guys, you can look at just the videos themselves and just how poorly these videos are doing. I mean, you can just look at that and just see that they're doing terrible. He was actually uploading his own personal stuff on this, like Best of Soul, just a lot of just random stuff on here. I don't know why anyone would want to be a part of this team, especially because there's no actual people originally from Major that are still in this team. But that being said, Soul stole the channel, guys, never gave me access to it. So I told him that obviously you don't have permission to restart the team. Well, anyways, he did anyways. Of course he did. And now they are on this Twitter account, Major Militia ESC, and of course he has access still. Now, I had tried to get the channel back, but it kind of got really, it was actually quite difficult for me to actually get access to back from the channel. If someone out there does know how to do those things, like how to get a channel back, you know, I'd be willing to listen. But I don't believe, guys, that Major would ever come back even if I got access back to the channel, because of how dead these subscribers are. I probably just would not have, I probably would not restart the team. It just obviously, and what I ended up doing, guys, after he stole the channel, I had access to it for a period of time. I actually deleted everything. I deleted all the videos. So all these videos that are on here now are videos that either they took from the old channel that they re-uploaded, or are, you know, old videos that were from the original Major Militia. Okay, so to get to the point here, Major came back based on a stolen channel that was stolen from me from Soul, who obviously, guys, this is a very scummy person that would do that. And, you know, I mean, this was years ago, guys, but I'm just telling you what ended up happening. I don't even know how they're even still a thing. I really don't. I mean, they have like not even 3,000 followers right now. We had like just started this Major Twitter account, and I think we got up to like close to 1,000, and then obviously the team ended and we lost a lot of those followers, but it doesn't matter at this point. All I'm saying is, guys, these were the original, I'll show you the original jerseys. You can kind of see those. Then on the back side, obviously has the Elias, then your name underneath of it. So these were the originals that were done by Sector 6 when we had kind of come back. I think it was probably the third comeback of Major or something like that. And we had jerseys made, we had gotten apparel done and all of that. But obviously, guys, it didn't work out, right? Obviously it did not work out. But what I'll say is that that's what happened. The channel was ultimately stolen. I say stolen because it was supposed to be a trade, and I would have never made a video like this if I would have just been given access to Oxygen Supremacy. I'm sure that Soul is one of those guys who has probably done this multiple times in the past. We'll have a channel, and then we'll try to get other channels for it. And I was just kind of the sucker that ended up going through with it. But if you're in Major, guys, you are in a fake Major, a Major that I don't even know why you would be a part of it, because they're not only uploading like teamtages and cams that are getting like not even 1,000 views, but they're also uploading like Life is Strange videos, and like I don't even know, guys. And they're getting like they got 100 views on a Life is Strange 2 video that is like 2 hours and 40 minutes, and it was 2 months ago. I don't know why anyone would be in the team. If you guys want to hear more, you definitely can. But Major was stolen, guys. Major was an amazing team back when SB Sway was there, kind of running everything as far as that's concerned. And when I went there, obviously when I was in Automatic HQ, actually when they recruited me to Major, I was a team manager for Auto, and then they brought me into to Major as a co-leader, worked my way up to owner of the team, and then that's kind of the unfortunate. And obviously, guys, I've learned from my mistakes when it came to Major especially, and the one thing I would really want you to stress to all of you is don't trust people on the internet unless you actually know them personally. That's number one. But number two is, no matter what, guys, loyalty is a huge thing. And I'm sure it's still a big thing in the trick shotting and sniping communities in Call of Duty. But just in general, whether you're joining an esports team, if you're joining a trick shot, a Call of Duty team, or you're joining a Doom team, a Gears team, whatever it might be, just loyalty is everything, guys. Be committed to those things, because I wasn't committed to Major, and that's what I want to get back to. Like, I wasn't committed to Major Militia because I was so focused on trying to get into Spacebound, and it happens. And you know what? I've learned from those mistakes, and now I'm not a part of a team. I'm not like, I would never say never to joining a team again, but obviously I would, I take those things very seriously now as far as any kind of like sponsorship, deals that someone would ever get, or if I were ever to get like a sponsorship deal, I would think about those things. And, the same thing with like a team, joining a team, you want to be loyal to your team. And that's kind of what this gets down to. But that's ultimately what happened to Major Militia, guys. A beautiful start. We were doing great things. I don't know. It's kind of one of those what ifs. I don't know where Major would be to this day if we would have just kept going and just kept pushing, and I never would have left the team a second time, because that's where it really got hurt, in my friendship with Sway ended up really kind of tanking for a while. Obviously, we became cool closer to the near the end of his life, but he was a great guy. It was a great team, and it's sad that it ended up happening like this, but if you guys have more questions, you guys can reach me on Twitter. But that's what happened to Major, guys. And there might be other stories that come out about it, but I'm one of the original people in Major, and this is what happened, okay? And I'm not saying that, I'm not saying that I want to bring Major back or something, but if we ever did, I would let you guys all know those things ahead of time. But thanks for listening, guys, and that's what happened to Major Militia. What is your best memory of Major from back in the day? Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. So this leads me into the next topic, guys, which is, will Major Militia ever return? And so, guys, obviously I went through, what happened to Major, the good things, the bad mistakes that I made with the team. And this was a huge opportunity for myself to get my name out there. And that's pretty much how I did get my name out there in the trick shot and sniping communities back then, was through Major and because of SB Sway and our friendship that we had. We were very close for a period of time, and I did try to bring the team back. I tried bringing the team back after Sway passed away, and obviously, guys, it was really tough for me. I never really look at myself at this point as a leader of a team. Like, I would never want to be a leader of a team, because I'm so focused on my YouTube channel here, like bringing you guys content. And with something like being a leader of a trick shot sniping team or an esports team, you got to be really committed to that for a long time. And I just wasn't that guy. So, will Major Militia ever return? Well, I'll tell you this. At this point, I have no interest, or I don't think that Major will come back, in the foreseeable future. However, if it does, Major Militia GG, at Major Militia GG, is the Twitter account that you'll want to be following, as well as just at Major Militia on Facebook. Those would be the two. And then, of course, my Twitter account, guys, which is just at 0_TV. I don't know if Major will ever come back. I'm going to say probably not, because if it were to come back, it would be very different. It might just be, a content team. It might have Call of Duty content that comes out of it, but it would be vastly different than what it was, because the trick shot and sniping communities, even though they are coming back because of Black Ops 2's Plutonium and things of that nature, I just don't feel that I would have the time to be really trying to put something like that together. I'm never going to say never to anything, though. I will never say never to Major ever coming back. Major was the best team I've ever been a part of. the best, run team that, from top to bottom with Sway, and then, myself as a leader, and, all the guys underneath myself, like the other leaders, the other co-leaders. We were a great team for a period of time throughout, Advanced Warfare, and even, kind of getting us into Black Ops 3. But I would say, guys, that we just got to let Major be for a period of time, right? Any of these other, anytime like Major has tried to make a comeback, or, a bunch of fanboys trying to bring the team back, look, that ain't Major. Major is a team that, was a team in the past. We really gave it a real try. We had a PUBG team. We were doing all kinds of stuff, guys. But it just got to a point where I didn't have the time, and the other guys that were in the team the second time around, that we, as I recruited other leaders and such, they had some of them, I'm not going to say all of them, had other priorities. Like, they were just trying to use Major to get into a bigger team. And I just, you need to have more camaraderie, or, you got to be like in it for kind of the long haul if you really want to see a team grow. And so, like I said, I'll never say never, guys, but it was short-lived that second time around. The second time around, when I, was really trying to push Major out there, and, we were doing, running ads, and we were doing all kinds of stuff, but it just didn't materialize, and I just didn't have the time for it. That was the thing. I had to prioritize. What am I going to prioritize, Major or trying to continue making YouTube content for all of you? And I decided to go with, YouTube content and streaming. I kind of wanted to just be a content creator and streamer and just do my own thing. And if I ever join another team, I would join a team as a content creator or a streamer. That was a portion of my life, guys. That was a period of time where I grinded hard to be a leader, to also create content, because I was uploading videos almost every single day on YouTube. You guys can check out all those videos that I did make when I was in Major on my second YouTube channel, that being 02. You guys can check out all that content. I did like news-based content similar to Scarce. When Scarce stopped doing, videos based in the Call of Duty community, I kind of picked that up, and, it worked out for me for a while, but it just kind of, it's one of those things, guys, that you got to be really all in on it. And I wasn't all in on Major for a while. I really wanted to get into Spacebound. Really, all in all, though, I really wish that I would have figured out that I really didn't want to be a leader. I wanted to be a content creator. I wanted to be a streamer. That was what I wanted to do. And I just didn't really figure that out until it was, too late, and Major was, already, kind of on the downturn, and Sway and I had like kind of disconnected. It was just unfortunate. All in all, guys, it was really an unfortunate ordeal. But at the end of the day, you live and you learn. I learned my lesson. I've learned a lot since then. I will always be proud that this was a part of my past in the gaming scene. Major will always be a part of my past. And I haven't ever talked about Major on this YouTube channel, so all of you guys now know that I used to be a leader of a trick-shotting and sniping Call of Duty team with some really great people in that community. And it's still a community, but it's, obviously it's a niche community, but nonetheless, it was a really great time. But I've moved on, and I'll never say never to it ever coming back. But for now, guys, we're just going to continue the grind on YouTube, continue the grind on Twitch. And anybody else that claims that they are Major is just false, is just not true. But I hope you guys all understand. If you guys have questions, definitely hit me up on Twitter. You guys can let me know in the comments section below. I would love to have some conversations with you guys about all of this, because it is important. But thanks so much, guys, for all the support that you have all given me over the course of time that I was in Major, and when I was, clan hopping in other teams and all of that stuff. Thank you for being on this journey now with me as we're pushing forward, as we're, moving into a new direction and such. Thank you for it. I really do appreciate it. And I'm excited about the next chapter now, that next stage that we're coming to. And I'm excited about it. And thanks for going on this adventure with me. So as a lot of you know, if you've been watching me stream on Twitch, and if you guys haven't been watching me stream on Twitch, guys, I am on Twitch, twitch.tv/0_TV, and I go live quite often. I don't have like an official schedule, but I do go live there, and that's a really good place where we can really connect and we can continue talking and having conversations live. And if you guys are on there, you know that I have made a dedicated effort to playing fighting games, and really Mortal Kombat in particular, because I've played multiple, fighting games. And Mortal Kombat is easily my favorite. I absolutely love Mortal Kombat. I think it is an incredibly well done game, very well balanced, and I just want to get really good at the game. It's kind of a new challenge. I've never really been super into fighting games, or I really should say that I never really gave fighting games much of a chance in the past. Well, now I have been, and today in this topic, I want to talk about what is the best fighting game ever. I want to talk about that, but I also want to talk about what are the best games right now that you can play, and I would love to have real conversations about this, because everybody's list and everybody's, different favorites as far as the fighting game community is concerned is going to kind of change up. Now, Mortal Kombat 11 is the first on here. This was a article written by PC Games, and I'm just going to go through. I'm not going to read the article. I just want to kind of go through each of the games here, because I thought it was a pretty good list of games. Now, this is best fighting games on PC, but a lot of these games, obviously, that are on PC are also on console. I would say, guys, other than Mortal Kombat 11, which is my favorite right now, it's actually my favorite game right now that I'm playing. I absolutely love Mortal Kombat, and I really want to get good at it. I'm making a conscious effort to get better at the game. That being said, I know that Mortal Kombat 11 is not for everyone, and not, everyone has to find their favorite fighting game. Mine is Mortal Kombat 11, but is it the best? Well, when we compare it to other games, guys, Dragon Ball FighterZ, which obviously is very big as well. I enjoy Dragon Ball FighterZ. Now, from a viewership perspective as well, when we look at like the esports side of things, like a lot of these games, of course, have the pros that are playing them at a very high level. Dragon Ball FighterZ is fun to watch, but it's a little bit confusing and kind of chaotic as from a viewership perspective. Mortal Kombat, on the other hand, is more, it's linear, but you can kind of understand what's going on a little bit more easier, right? Now, what I'll say is Street Fighter V, this is kind of the biggest one, I would say. Now, obviously, Smash, I'm going to say that Smash is probably the biggest, obviously, and it's the most family-friendly. Mortal Kombat, let's be real, is not very family-friendly. It's very gory. I wish that there was an option, at least for the esports side, that in Mortal Kombat they could tone the gore down so that, it would be better for, I guess, for viewership and, for that sake, because Mortal Kombat 11 isn't even going to be at EVO 2020, which is really unfortunate, and I think that it would have probably been there if it wasn't as gory. And don't get me wrong, that's one of the things that we absolutely love about Mortal Kombat, but it'd be cool to have that option, at least for tournaments and stuff, to kind of tone that stuff down. But Street Fighter V, other than Smash, is probably the biggest and the best because of how balanced it is, but also just from a viewership perspective, absolutely awesome. I would say it probably goes second under Smash. It's probably goes Smash first because that's very family friendly, but it's also, takes a lot of skill as well. But Street Fighter V takes a lot of skill. Now, one of the games, guys, that I think takes some of the most skill is Tekken 7 right now. I think that it might not be the best fighting game, but it takes a significant amount of skill. Lots of those combos and things. I mean, you're doing things at such a rapid rate. Probably the most rapid rate out of any fighting game in the world at this point. And that's why I really like Tekken 7. I think Tekken 7 was very well done. I'm excited to see the future of its franchise, but also the future of Street Fighter's franchise. And heck, I'm excited about the future of all these franchises, even that including Dragon Ball as well as Mortal Kombat. Now, Guilty Gear XRD, I have not played this one. I've watched it a little bit, and It seems fine. It seems all right. I mean, I don't have a huge opinion on it because I haven't played it myself. Now, Injustice 2, I think this is a community that a lot of people are, obviously really lots of people love this community, and a lot of the people who are in that community and players in that community want to see a continuation of Injustice. They want to see that continuation because after Mortal Kombat 11, I believe it's supposed to go over to Injustice. Like they're supposed to get a sequel of that and then come back to Mortal Kombat. I think that's how it works. But Injustice, I'd like to see this, and this is a lot of fun to watch as well. I think this is a really cool game to play as well as, it reminds me somewhat of Mortal Kombat without a doubt. Not as good in my eyes as far as the best, but it's still a very solid game to say the least. BlazBlue Cross Tag Battle, once again, another game that I don't know a lot about. Street Fighter 20th Anniversary Collection. This is always cool. I love it when games do this or developers do this. Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3. I know that this is really big. This kind of reminds me of Mortal Kombat vs. DC Universe. This, though, has had a few sequels. I know a lot of people are wanting to see a Mortal Kombat vs. DC Universe sequel. I think the reason that we haven't seen that is simply because a lot of the characters in the DC Universe are being, put into Mortal Kombat, so you can kind of play as those, so what's really the point? But at the same time, I would like to see a sequel of that as well. This is really cool. I wonder if we're going to get a sequel to the Marvel vs. Capcom series. Soul Calibur, this was the very first fighting game I ever played. Well, actually, I take that back. It probably is the second one to Smash. I played Smash first, and then Soul Calibur was kind of that first one, or that second one I started playing. I forget which Soul Calibur it was that I started playing. I think it was 3 or 4 that I played, not at a very high level, but I really enjoyed playing it. We would go over to my buddy's house and we would play over there. It was just, Soul Calibur was a really sick game, and when, I think it was pretty cheap at GameStop when we got it, and we just all really got into this game. The combos and all of that, really cool. Soul Calibur 6, I don't know if it's probably not the best of the, obviously on the best list when it comes to the fighting games, but I do think it's still a very solid addition or continuation of the Soul Calibur franchise. I'm excited to see where this franchise goes as well, because I think it's got a ton of potential, and I think the viewership perspective is getting better and better as we go as well. Mugen, I have, this is one of those games that I have not played much. I would love to hear from you guys in the comment section below about that game. But overall, guys, when we talk about the best fighting games, I think you look at the entirety of it, right? And I would say Smash is number 1 on the list. It just has to be, because from a viewership perspective, like just purely watching people play the game, whether that's competitively or casually, it's great. And then playing it yourself is a lot of fun as well. And there's obviously multiple layers to it, and a lot to learn, right? It's easy to play, very difficult to master. But I think that goes with saying with any fighting game, they're easy to play, but they're hard to master, which makes it a lot of fun. Same thing I would say about Street Fighter. Street Fighter I would put as number 2 as the best fighting game. And then number 3, I probably would say Tekken is probably number 3 up there. And I'm going to give you probably my top 5 personally, what I think are the best that you can watch at this point. I'd probably say, okay, so Smash, Street Fighter 5, and then Tekken 7. Number 4, guys, even though it didn't get, it got kind of snubbed at EVO, I really do think Mortal Kombat 11, I just absolutely love Mortal Kombat. It's one of my top games. It's slowly but surely going up onto some of my top games. I might have to actually change my big 3, not my big 3, but call it my big 4. So obviously, guys, if you guys watch the channel, my top 3 video games of all time are Call of Duty, or franchises I should say, Call of Duty, StarCraft, and Gears of War. And Mortal Kombat very well might have to be joined to that list as the big 4, because I am completely, I feel like when I first started playing Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, or first started playing Call of Duty Black Ops 2, like just absolutely immersed in this world and just everything that has to do with it. This is the first time I felt like that since really that point in time. And StarCraft 2 obviously had, gave me a lot of that feeling, that drive to keep getting better, and Gears of War the same scenario. But man, this is just such a good franchise. So I put it at number 4. And then number 5, I would have to give a nod to Soul Calibur. And not necessarily Soul Calibur 6 in particular, but just the franchise in general. I think it's up there with the best fighting games in the world, in my opinion. So those are kind of like the top 5 for me, guys. I would love to hear your opinions on my list. Obviously, we're all going to be kind of different probably with our lists, but I would love to hear your top 5 favorite fighting games, and what do you think the best fighting games in the world are currently and all time? Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. So guys, a franchise that I have been really passionate about for a number of years, and obviously I've kind of lost my touch with the franchise, and I think it's a few different reasons, but I want to give you guys a number of reasons why the Assassin's Creed franchise has kind of gone off into a strange direction and has kind of lost me as not necessarily as a fan, but as a casual gamer when it comes to the franchise. And so in this last segment of the show, I want to talk about what happened to Assassin's Creed. So let's talk about it. So I think there's a number of things here, guys. Number of moving parts as to why Assassin's Creed, I think, kind of went into a different direction. This article was written by Study Breaks, and it was written by Christian Nelson. How Assassin's Creed lost its way. If you can't jump off a rooftop into a haystack, you're not playing an Assassin's Creed game. I disagree with that statement, but nonetheless, it's kind of just the beginning, right? Nothing is true, everything is permitted. That's the maxim for the Assassin's Creed games, though now it seems to apply to the entire franchise in the worst of ways. Recent news concerning the upcoming installment in the series, Assassin's Creed Odyssey, which obviously, guys, this article was written back in 2018, just so you know, confirms that not only will one of the 2 playable characters be non-canon, meaning they technically don't exist in the game's universe, but the ending of the game is not even in the game. It's in a book. So right there, guys, that's a big problem, right? And, obviously Ubisoft has tried to kind of right the ship in a way, but there's a sour taste in a lot of people's mouths with Assassin's Creed. And it's really unfortunate. It's a really unfortunate thing. Now, the first entry in the Assassin's Creed series hasn't aged well and wasn't anything to write home about when it first came out either. Much of the game involves sitting on benches to eavesdrop and trailing people to pick their pockets to gain information on your target's whereabouts and fortifications. Not terribly exciting, and even the more exciting bits boiled down to choosing to stealth kill your target and booking it out of there, or just go in guns blazing, or more accurately, swords a-swinging, and kill a mini-army before searching your target. Still, the unique experience of the game had its charm. For starters, the game took place during the Third Crusade, and while it obviously took liberties on how some events went down, the map accurately represented the cities that existed at the time, adding a nice level of immersion. So the first game, guys, to me I liked it because it kind of was innovating. It was obviously the first of the entire franchise. So playing it, I'm like, this really could develop into something really cool and really special. It wasn't until you got to the next couple of games where it was like, wow, this really could be something special. But obviously, after those first few games, I think that's where, at least they kind of were starting to lose me as far as the story's concerned and all of that. Now, some fans consider Assassin's Creed 2 the best game in the series, and it's certainly a true high point. It vastly improved upon its predecessor in terms of both gameplay and story, and traversing Renaissance Italy is truly amazing. The game also introduced another layer to the story, one that deepened the feud between the Order and the Creed. In the game, Ezio, the Italian assassin and ancestor Desmond was learning about throughout the Animus, searches for codex pages scattered across Italy, and written by none other than Altair. Once he collects all the pages, they reveal a coming prophet who will open the vault by using 2 pieces of Eden. Players saw a piece at the end of the first game, and they can learn a lot about the usage of the pieces throughout human history by finding and deciphering glyphs found in Assassin's Creed 2. So Assassin's Creed 2, guys, I thought was great. I thought it was a very well done addition. It was kind of like that sequel, and it kind of put everything up a notch. I missed, I didn't like when it came to, one thing that bothered me about the franchise was we were kind of playing as different characters each game, it kind of felt like, and it still feels like that to this day, that you're just playing different characters. It's like, I like having kind of one narrative overall. Now, they keep saying that Assassin's Creed is all going to come together and you're going to realize what all it is, and but there is a lot of mystery to it. I especially remember in Revelations, lots of mystery behind that game. But we're kind of getting ahead of ourselves. Assassin's Creed 3 received lukewarm reviews from fans, with the universal highlight being the naval combat the game introduced to the series. Additionally, there had always been talk on online forums that the modern-day story wasn't needed and that people would prefer to not be taken away from climbing buildings and stabbing people every few hours for a story they couldn't care less about. It appears as though Microsoft took all of this into consideration when making their next installment, which was Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag, which garnered extremely positive acclaim for basically being a pirate game. Even the tutorial writes off your assassin training as skills a pirate can pick up on their first attempt. The land missions occur in the traditional Assassin's Creed style, featuring plenty of eavesdrop missions and hiding in haystacks, but the game is really played out on the open seas and might as well be an entirely different IP. And I'd have to agree with that, guys. Look, once we got to Black Flag, I just started to kind of distance myself from Assassin's Creed, started playing other games, and then when you had Unity, Syndicate, Origins, Odyssey, all these different games that have come out now, I really haven't even played them that much. And I'll tell you why I really haven't played some of the more recent games. I haven't played because they force you to do side missions in order to move on in the main missions. And I'll tell you why I don't like that. I feel the same exact thing with Far Cry 5. When it comes to these franchises, and you're getting kind of engulfed and you're getting into the story and you're really starting to enjoy the story, you don't want to be taken out of that story. You want to find out what happens next. But whenever the game forces you to do side missions and things of that nature, it's going to take you out of the story and you almost forget what's even going on, because sometimes those side missions can take a while. You have to do multiple side missions even to figure out, to get to that next portion. And I can't stand that about these games. I love that they want you to do the side missions, but I like having the option to do the side missions when I want to do the side missions. So that was one glaring issue I've had with Assassin's Creed. I've also had the issue that as far as what happened with the franchise, I think they tried too much to be like a Call of Duty, not from the standpoint of a first-person shooter, but from the standpoint of bringing out way too many games way too soon. Just kept on trying to pump out these games and oversaturating these games. And I know they do very well, but it's not Call of Duty. Call of Duty has a very established brand that over the years, that they just bring out a game every year and it does really, really well as far as sales goes. Assassin's Creed doesn't really have that. And especially with all the changes that they've been making and the story, the narrative itself, and just making all of those changes, always kind of changing up the characters, which I know Call of Duty does. But once again, Assassin's Creed isn't even in the same stratosphere as Call of Duty is as far as, brand recognition. So Assassin's Creed, I think, has really struggled with that as well. Assassin's Creed has had an issue finding its identity, and that's really what it comes down to me as to what has happened to Assassin's Creed as of late. So I think that to kind of end off this with this article, as the modern day story, you play yourself as an employee of Abstergo, exploring the life of Edward Kenway for official entertainment purposes and unofficial Templar business. Other than that, and a cutscene at the end of the game, the modern day story is non-existent and practically goes nowhere. This is the formula that the future releases would follow. Add in some new gimmicks. Unity had co-op, Syndicate had 2-player protagonists, and Origins is basically an RPG, and spin the wheels of the modern story just enough to create a thin thread that connects these games. The fact that Odyssey takes place before Origins means any connection to the Assassins will be minuscule, and doubling down on the RPG elements Origins introduced takes the game further from its roots. And now it's confirmed that the player experiences won't even matter. The new identity of Assassin's Creed is whatever it needs to be, sell, and that's truly a shame. So, yeah, guys, Assassin's Creed has it's taken a really bad turn, unfortunately, in my eyes. Now, I know there's still significant fans of the franchise, and I'm happy for all of you who really enjoy Assassin's Creed and you like every installment that comes out. But from from a player who was there in the beginning to see kind of the origins of Assassin's Creed, to now where it's kind of come to with the story and everything, it just kind of felt, because I even remember after I finished Revelations, I remember wondering, like, where are they going with this story? This is getting very weird, and I'm confused as to what is even going on. And at that point, I was like, I have a bad feeling about this. And sure enough, it's kind of, they really have had an identity crisis. They can't figure out what it is exactly they want to do, and it's created massive problems for the Assassin's Creed franchise. Now, sure, there is a massive following of Assassin's Creed, which is great, and I really hope that Ubisoft moves this franchise in the right direction. But part of me wonders if they need to kind of wrap it up here soon and move into other IPs like Splinter Cell, which is something that tons of people want. And, even like, continuing Rainbow Six and other games like Ubisoft that Ubisoft owns. I just feel that Assassin's Creed, if you're going to continue it, just take your time with the game. Take your time. Don't try to be Call of Duty. Don't try to be anybody but Assassin's Creed. Just be Assassin's Creed, and we're all going to love that it's Assassin's Creed. Make it feel like Assassin's Creed. I mean, it's cool going back to the Egyptian times or, here or there, the Roman times, whatever it might be. That's all great. But you really got to I feel like at least those first 3 Assassin's Creed games, they had a vision for where they wanted to go, and they kind of went in that direction. And sure, it kind of got really convoluted near the end of like Revelations and such, but at the same time, this is a game that I'm cheering for. Like, I want these games to get better, and I hope they do over time. But this is just one guy's opinion on it, everyone, and I would love to hear from all of you. What do you guys think about Assassin's Creed, and what do you think happened to the franchise? Do you think that the franchise is just fine? Like, do you think that it's just going to keep going and it's going to be fine? Do you enjoy it? Let me know what you guys think. I would love to have a conversation about it in the comment section below. But let me know, guys, as far as, do you think that Assassin's Creed needs to kind of be put on the shelf for a little period of time, or do you think that they need to keep working on it but just take their time with the game? Let me know what you guys think. I would love to have a conversation about it. And with that being said, everyone, I hope you guys did enjoy this episode of the 8 Below Show. And if you guys did, leave a thumbs up, subscribe if you're new, stay positive, and as always, I'll talk to you guys all in the next one. Peace.